Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. Arts and entertainment stories are becoming more difficult to find. That's why this show will now focus on a combination of arts and entertainment news plus more history of Berkshire County. First, it's time for this week's trivia question. This week's question is, which actress from the TV show Blackish has a famous singer mother? I'll reveal the answer at the end of my show. And now for this week's local entertainment news headlines. The Pittsfield 4th of July parade has been canceled. On May 20th, organizers made the very difficult decision to cancel the event, which has been going on for the past 100 years. Parade Committee President Peter Marchetti stated, "We have been following the current situation and believe it would not be feasible to have a gathering the size of this parade under the current conditions." Thousands of people would assemble along the parade route, and during this time it would become an unsafe event. The Parade Committee is coming up with a unique solution to their problem. They will be teaming up with PCTV to re-air all archived parades possible in their entirety beginning on July 3rd. Visit pittsfieldtv.org for more information over the coming weeks. On my last episode, I discussed how the Pittsfield Suns season was in jeopardy. Futures League Commissioner Joe Palucci has met with the owners of the league, and they are thinking of possibly starting the league up on July 1st. The season would be shortened, so teams would only play 42 games. Much is still being discussed, including travel, allowing or banning fans, and where players would stay. Stay tuned to Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News for updates on the season. Drive-in movie theaters and pop-up theaters across the country are opening up. Great Barrington has discussed opening one to compensate for the loss of the Berkshire International Film Festival. While Massachusetts has not yet allowed drive-in theaters to open, theaters could follow guidelines like those in Malta, New York, an hour and 20-minute drive from Pittsfield off of I-87 Exit 12, which opened the weekend of May 23rd. Malta's drive-in theater will be operating at 50% capacity, and contactless payment is recommended. In addition, vehicles must be separated by 12 feet, and patrons are encouraged to stay inside their cars. There will still be concession services, but Malta is requiring patrons to purchase food online ahead of time. Finally, restroom usage will be limited, with every other stall and sink blocked off. See the website listed here for more information on Malta's drive-ins. Drive-ins are a nice family outing during this very difficult time. Several drive-in theaters were located in Pittsfield and Dalton in the 50s and 60s, but they have been closed for many years. Updates on these possible pop-up drive-in theaters will follow in the weeks to come. It's time for this week's history portion of WWHEN. Our first location this week is Mount Greylock in North Adams. Mount Greylock's access road has reopened. Be careful about overcrowding and make sure to bring a mask, as social distancing rules still apply. It is the highest peak in Massachusetts at 3,492 feet. You can see 73 miles and 5 states from the top on a clear day. Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, Vermont, and New Hampshire. It gained fame in the 18th and 19th centuries, as many literary figures who wrote about the mountain in their travels. These included Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry David Thoreau, and Herman Melville. This led to a booming tourism industry. So much so that Mount Greylock was declared Massachusetts' first state reservation in 1898. Many different memorials were built in the 30s and 40s, none more famous than the Baxham Lodge, built in 1936. This lodge represents rustic architectural design of the era. Additionally, the Thunderbolt ski trail was built on the mountain in 1940. While this faced some leeway at first, it became one of Mount Greylock's most famous points of interest. Every year, there is also a popular wizard/fairy festival held at Mount Greylock summit. This might have something to do with the Harry Potter franchise. On her Pottermore website, a blog where author J.K. Rowling posts trivia that wasn't in the Harry Potter books, Rowling wrote that Mount Greylock is the location of the North American School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in the fictional Harry Potter universe. This gave Mount Greylock national attention. Our second history stop is Tanglewood, located in Lenox, which has canceled its 2020 season. It began as a series of private concerts in 1934. The first 2 years of Tanglewood actually took place at Interlaken, the village center of Stockbridge. The first concert attracted more than 5,000 people. One of the attendees was Sarah Delano Roosevelt, the mother of then-President Franklin Roosevelt. 1936 was a very important year for Tanglewood. After 2 years of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, Tanglewood brought in the Boston Symphony Orchestra and has remained that way ever since. Also, Miss Gorham Brooks and Mary Aspinwall Tappan donated their summer home in Lenox to the Boston Symphony Orchestra. This change became permanent. In 1937, there was a massive rainstorm that left concertgoers scrambling. This forced the creation of the famed Tanglewood Shed. By 1941, Tanglewood was one of the biggest tourist attractions in the Berkshires. Wartime restrictions forced its closing from 1942 to 1945, but it came back stronger than ever. It had issues with acoustics in its early years until 1959, when the Edmund Hawes Talbot Orchestra canopy was installed. Today, the acoustics are one of Tanglewood's biggest draws. In the 90s, the creation of Sedgwick Ozawa Hall, named after the Boston Symphony Orchestra conductor, provided a more intimate venue for recital and chamber music concerts. Over the past 10 to 15 years, Tanglewood has become a popular touring spot for major musicians. The artists have ranged from James Taylor and Taylor Swift to Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett. In addition, Tanglewood hosts Pittsfield High School's, Berkshire Community Colleges, and Lenox High School graduations. It's now time for this week's movie news. 2 films that were scheduled for in-theater releases are taking unique approaches to this COVID-19 crisis. Both of these movies are light comedies, a good medicine for this very crazy time. First, the romantic comedy/action Lovebirds decided to take the Netflix approach on May 22nd. This movie tells the story of a couple who are on the verge of breaking up. When they witness a murder, they must clear their names before it's too late. Lovebirds stars Issa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani and is directed by Michael Showalter. The other film is The High Note. The High Note was also scheduled to open in theaters, but, like Trolls World Tour and Scoob recently, it took the on-demand approach, premiering on May 29th. This musical comedy discusses how a popular singer must make the decision between a major career change and her friends. This movie stars Tracy Ellis Ross, Dakota Johnson, Ice Cube, and June Diane Raphael. This movie is also the basis to the answer to my Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment Trivia. As a reminder, the question was, which actress from the TV show Blackish has a famous singer mother? The answer is Tracy Ellis Ross, whose mother is none other than the iconic Diana Ross. Tracy Ellis plays the lead singer in The High Note, so it was very easy for her to channel her mother. Just as a point of reference, this movie is in no way, shape, or form having anything to do with Diana Ross's life. That ends Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube page at RT Wehry. Also, new episodes will be airing on PCTV on Spectrum Berkshire County, channel 1301. Visit www.pittsfieldtv.org for the full schedule. Thank you.